The divorce papers were already signed before Marcus even sat down. He walked into the kitchen that Tuesday morning, still in the same clothes from the night before, and there they were, right next to his coffee cup. A neat stack of papers. His wife, Dana, was standing at the counter, not even looking at him. Their two kids, 7-year-old Caleb and 5-year-old Lily, were eating cereal like nothing was happening. "I already called a lawyer," Dana said. "I need you out by Friday. 3 days. 13 years of marriage. 3 days." And here's what nobody knew. Not Dana, not her lawyer, not even Marcus's own mother. The bankruptcy had been entirely fake. Every single dollar Marcus had lost was still there. Every account, every asset, every investment, just hidden, waiting. Because Marcus James wasn't testing the market. He was testing his wife. And she had just failed in the most spectacular way possible. But stay with me, because what happened next, what he did with that information, will make your jaw drop. And what Dana did when she finally found out the truth. Nobody saw that coming either. Real quick, where are you watching this from right now? Drop your city in the comments. And look, people watch these videos all day without subscribing. And that's fine, it's free, but just know the subscribe button is literally right there and it costs you absolutely nothing. Okay, back to Marcus. 6 months before those divorce papers, Marcus James was exactly the kind of man people pointed at from across a restaurant. 41 years old, self-made, started a logistics and supply chain tech company out of a 1-bedroom apartment in Atlanta, with nothing but a laptop and a bad office chair. By the time Caleb was born, the company was valued at $40 million. By Lily's second birthday, it had crossed $200 million. Dana had quit her job as a dental hygienist when they hit $10 million. Said she needed to focus on the kids. Marcus never pushed back. He loved being the provider. He loved coming home to a warm house and a wife who seemed happy. Because here's what Marcus started noticing around year 8 of their marriage, and this is the part people never talk about. Dana's love had terms and conditions. The dinners got nicer when the company grew. The affection increased when he upgraded the car. When he surprised her with a vacation to Tuscany, she couldn't keep her hands off him for a week. But after a tough quarter, when he'd come home stressed, tired, worried, she'd go cold, distant, like a thermostat set to a very specific temperature. He told himself he was imagining it. He wasn't. Then came the announcement that changed everything. Marcus stood in his own boardroom, in front of his investors, his executive team, his attorney, and declared Chapter 7 bankruptcy. He said the company had collapsed under a series of bad acquisitions, tanking tech stocks, and a partnership deal that went sideways in Southeast Asia. He had documents, spreadsheets, third-party audit reports. All of it was fabricated and done with devastating precision because Marcus James hadn't lost a single dollar. He had simply moved everything, every account, every asset, every offshore fund, under a private holding company registered in Delaware, operated under his best friend and attorney, Raymond Cole. The declared assets, gone. The real assets, $500 million, growing. The question was simple. Who would stay? The first to leave was his business partner, Greg. Called on a Thursday, said he was pivoting to other opportunities. Didn't even say goodbye in person. Just a text. 11 years of building something together. A text. His investors, gone by the weekend. His so-called friends from the country club, the ones who called him brother and slapped his back at charity dinners. Not one phone call. Not one. His voicemail sat empty like a grave. His mother, Patricia, came to the house on day 4, held his face in her hands, told him she was proud of him no matter what, slipped $200 in his pocket, which he didn't need but accepted because it was everything she had, and left crying. She was the only one. And then there was Dana. The night after the bankruptcy announcement, Marcus came home to find Dana on the phone. She didn't hear him come in. He stood in the hallway and heard pieces of her conversation. "I don't know how long I can do this. He's not the same person I married. I didn't sign up for this. She says I should protect myself legally before things get worse." He walked upstairs, sat on the edge of the bed, stared at the wall for a long time. 3 days later, the papers. But here is what Marcus recorded. Every single conversation, every cold response, every instance where Dana chose to leave instead of stay. He had cameras in the living room and kitchen, legal, disclosed under state law, installed under the guise of home security. And Raymond, his attorney, had been documenting everything from day 1. Because Marcus wasn't just testing his wife emotionally. He was building a legal case. Okay, pause. If you're still watching, you already know this story is different. Smash that like button. I'm serious. Smash it. It genuinely helps more people find this video. Now back to it. Here's what Dana didn't know. 18 months before the bankruptcy, before Marcus staged a single thing, He had hired a private investigator, not because he suspected cheating. He suspected something colder: financial manipulation. See, Marcus had noticed discrepancies. Joint accounts with withdrawals he didn't authorize. A storage unit rented under a name he didn't recognize. A conversation, overheard, accidentally, between Dana and her sister Michelle. You need to get your name on more assets. Before something happens, you don't know what the market's going to do. He'll notice, Dana had said. Not if you do it right, Michelle replied. The PI confirmed it within 6 weeks. Dana had quietly transferred $1.4 million from a joint business account into a private account, her name alone. She had been doing it slowly, small transactions, over 2 years. She had an exit strategy. She had been planning for a version of this moment long before Marcus created it. She wasn't just leaving because he went broke. She had been building the foundation to leave long before, and his bankruptcy was simply the most convenient door. When Raymond laid out the full investigation report on his desk, Marcus sat with it for a long time. Then he said, quietly, "Okay, let's finish this." While Dana's attorney was filing motions and celebrating what looked like a clean, easy divorce from a broke man with no assets, Raymond was quietly doing the real work. First, he filed a civil lawsuit against Dana for financial fraud. The unauthorized transfers, documented to the cent, with timestamps, bank records, security footage from the day she opened the private account. Dana's attorney, confident, expensive, used to winning, had built her entire case around Marcus having nothing. Now he was staring at a countersuit that threatened everything Dana had saved. Second, Marcus's family law attorney filed for primary custody of Caleb and Lily. And this is the part of the story that people miss. Marcus hadn't staged the bankruptcy to hurt Dana. He'd done it to understand something he needed to know before he put his children in a home with a woman he wasn't sure he could trust. He had documented everything. The nights Dana left the kids with a babysitter to go out with Michelle. The school pickup she missed 17 times in one semester. The therapy appointment she canceled for Lily twice because she had plans. And the recordings from the home cameras. Dana on the phone, talking about the kids as a leverage point in the settlement. Not as people she loved, as leverage. The judge didn't need much convincing. Primary physical custody was awarded to Marcus. Dana got every other weekend. She walked out of that courtroom a different color than she walked in. 6 weeks after the custody ruling, Raymond scheduled a meeting. Dana came in expecting a negotiation on the fraud case, something she could settle quietly and walk away from. What she walked into was a conference room. Marcus was there. Raymond was there. 2 other attorneys, and a forensic accountant. On the table was a single document, a full disclosure of the real holding company, every asset, every account, $500 million in total verified net worth. Dana sat down slowly. Read the first page, then the second. Her attorney put a hand on her arm and she shook him off. This was a test, she said. It wasn't a question. Marcus looked at her for a long moment. I needed to know who you were, he said. Now I do. The civil fraud suit was settled. Dana repaid the $1.4 million plus interest plus legal fees. She kept her personal accounts. She kept the car. She got a monthly payment for her share of the marital estate. Fair, calculated, cold. What she didn't get, what she will never get back, was the life she had. Because 18 months later, Marcus married a woman named Claire, a kindergarten teacher he'd met at one of Caleb's school events. No agenda, no strategy. Just a woman who'd sat with him on a bench outside the school and talked for 2 hours about nothing important and everything that mattered. Claire adopted Caleb and Lily with their full enthusiasm. Lily called her Mama Claire within 3 months. And Marcus? He gave $50 million to a foundation in his mother Patricia's name, supporting single mothers navigating financial hardship. The man who faked losing everything built something real. Here's what stays with me about Marcus's story. He didn't destroy Dana out of rage. He didn't expose her publicly. He didn't humiliate her. He just let the truth do what truth does. The $500 million was never the point. The kids were the point. Knowing the truth was the point. And yes, you could argue the whole thing was extreme. You could argue that staging a bankruptcy to test your spouse crosses a line. That's a fair argument. But watch this. Dana had already crossed her line. She crossed it the day she started moving money into a private account. She crossed it the day she called her own children leverage. Marcus didn't manufacture a villain. He just turned on the lights. Now, I want to know what you think. Was Marcus's plan genius, or did he go too far? And honestly, could you have held your composure the way he did in that conference room? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And listen, if you watch this whole thing and you're still not subscribed, what are you even doing? It's one tap. It's free. And you clearly have taste because you made it to the end. Hit subscribe, drop a like if this hit different, and share us with somebody who needs to hear it today. I'll see you in the next one.